The year 2024, it's really unlike any other in the history of democracy. It is the ultimate election year. But it's all happening on a brand new kind of battlefield, one where the lines between what's real and what's fake are being totally, deliberately blurred by AI. So how in the world do we protect the very foundation of our society when our own eyes and ears can be turned against us? Well, let's break it down. And to get a sense of the scale here, it is just staggering. We're talking more than 4 billion people across 60 different nations, all heading to the polls this year. That is literally half the world's population taking part in democracy, and they're all facing this brand new, very powerful technological threat. So to really get our heads around this challenge, and more importantly, how leaders are trying to fight back, we're going to dive deep into a key piece of research. This paper really maps out both the threat and the potential solutions on the table. Okay, so the paper we're looking at tonight comes from the journal Frontiers in Political Science. It's by authors Aditya Kumar Shukla and Shraddha Tripathi. And they set out to answer a really critical question. What is the European Union actually doing to combat all of this AI-generated misinformation in such a huge election year? All right, so first things first, let's really define the problem. According to this research, the threat isn't just one thing. It's a powerful and, frankly, an increasingly accessible technology that basically weaponizes deception on a massive, massive scale. And at the heart of this problem, we're talking about deepfakes. Now, this is AI-generated synthetic media, so video or audio, that can make it look and sound like someone is saying or doing something they absolutely never did. It's kind of the ultimate tool for political manipulation. But here's the big question, right? Is this just some science fiction concern for the future? Or is it a weapon that's already being used out there on the democratic battlefield? Well, the research provides some pretty clear, and honestly, kind of alarming answers. Yeah, this is not theoretical, not at all. Just look at these flashpoints from 2024 alone. In Pakistan, you had an AI-generated voice of an imprisoned leader used to deliver a victory speech. In India, deepfakes were spreading lies about what the ruling party was planning to do. And then you have Indonesia and Bangladesh, who saw similar coordinated campaigns just designed to sow confusion and distrust. This is happening right now. And this really gets to the heart of the challenge. The researchers emphasize that deepfake technology isn't just getting better and better, it's getting easier for pretty much anyone to use. And what's the result of that? It's becoming nearly impossible for the average person to tell what's real from what's completely fake. So, when you're faced with a threat that sophisticated, how do you even begin to fight back? Well, that brings us to the second part of our breakdown, the solution, and we're going to focus specifically on what the European Union is trying to do. Now, the EU isn't just relying on one single silver bullet here. They've developed this really interesting two-pronged legislative approach. First up, you've got the Digital Services Act, or the DSA. This basically holds the big online platforms, like Facebook and TikTok, accountable for the stuff on their sites, forcing them to identify and label manipulated media. And then there's the second part, the groundbreaking AI Act, which creates an entire legal framework for artificial intelligence itself. And what's really smart about the EU's AI Act is how it thinks about the problem. It's not just a blanket ban on everything. Instead, it's this sophisticated, risk-based approach. It sorts all AI systems into 4 distinct tiers, which you can see right here in this pyramid structure. So let's quickly break this down. At the very top, in red, you have unacceptable risk AI. This is stuff like government social scoring systems, and it's just outright banned. Simple. Below that is high risk, things like facial recognition, which is going to be heavily regulated. Then you step down to limited risk, like chatbots. These just need to be transparent and tell you that you're talking to an AI. And finally, at the bottom, minimal risk, like spam filters in your email or AI in video games, which have basically no new restrictions. Okay, so we've looked at the problem and the EU's proposed solution. What's the bottom line here? What are the key takeaways from the research? Well, the paper leaves us with 3 really critical findings. So, the first major finding from the research is, it's a stark and really urgent reality check. And it's this: the threat is already here. It's real, and it's happening right now. This is no longer some hypothetical conversation about what might happen. The evidence from the paper, from Pakistan, India, and all those other places, proves that AI-driven misinformation is a clear and present danger to democracy today. Okay, so the second big finding focuses on the nature of the European response. What makes the EU's approach so significant is that it's proactive. See, instead of just reacting to scandals after they've already happened and playing catch-up, they are building a foundational, structural, legal framework. The DSA and the AI Act, they're designed to get ahead of the problem by regulating the technology based on its potential for harm. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most sobering finding from the paper. And it's this. Even though the EU's framework is ambitious, the authors conclude that success is definitely not guaranteed. The fight against AI misinformation isn't a one-and-done kind of fix. It's going to require constant adaptation, global collaboration, and a very, very delicate balance between keeping people safe and protecting free speech. And this really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The technology is evolving at lightning speed. The threat gets more sophisticated literally every day. And so we have to ask ourselves, can our laws, our institutions, and our democracies, can they even stand a chance of keeping up?